So, I'm sure you're wondering what happened to Oz and Zoe, the platformer game that I was working on. Well, I'm just gonna say it. I lost the game files. And I know you're probably thinking, how? Why? And the answer is I was switching from Windows to Linux, and I was being stupid and didn't understand that the files were in a different format, and I simply had to just copy those files over to a hard drive that had been formatted for Linux. And because I didn't know that, I formatted that hard drive. But I also didn't even know that those files were on that hard drive to begin with. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done that. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, why didn't I just back it up or use GitHub? And to answer that, I simply didn't want to use GitHub for one, and then I also just didn't think about having a backup. And I'm sure you're thinking, that's stupid. And it is. So, no worries there. We're on the same page. Losing Oz and Zoe did put me in a bit of a rut, and that's why you didn't see any more videos being uploaded after a certain period of time, because I had lost the game and my drive to work on any projects. But after a while, that cloud over my head kind of passed, and I started working on something new. So what we're looking at right now is Specter, the new project I'm working on. Now, I'm sure you're also maybe thinking, if you know anything about me, Specter, that's the comic book that you've been working on and has been out for years. Yeah, I think I want to turn it into a video game. So this video game is going to be a top-down beat-em-up that's got couch co-op built in and will be open world. So you'll be able to travel to all known spots within the Specter universe. At least covering the first arc of the story. It can't go too crazy. I'm still just one guy. But who knows? Maybe we'll see it in the future. So let's hop into the game now. This is all going to be alpha footage, so don't think, that anything visually will stay the same. Jumping in now, this is going to be the player input menu where you decide how many people are actually going to be playing. The game, as it is already, can pick up on both keyboard and controller. So just to show that there is controller, that is my controller as the second player. We're not going to hop in though, using both inputs since I'm just one person. We're going to stay on keyboard only. Let's go ahead and hop in. And we'll jump right into a cutscene. This is the opening cutscene, which will kind of establish the connection Desmond has to his father. Let's just go ahead and click through this. Now you'll notice that there are two things going on. One, you get to see effects on the the text speech that's being displayed for each character as they talk through the cutscene. And then the picture of them next to the text actually animates and speaks as the text is being displayed. That's a nice little feature that I'm pretty proud of. Yeah, I can speak. Moving on, the cutscene really shows that Desmond's kinda not the happiest towards his father right now. But he does what his dad asks of him anyways, and he picks up the box. Now he's going to go ahead and have him go inside with the box. Now, probably should have specified that the box needs to go in the kitchen, but that is okay. Here's where you'd kind of like explore. Maybe you'd go the wrong way. Oh, where's this? Can I go in here? No. Oh, I can go in here. This is a bedroom. Let's go over here. Can I go over here? Nope. We're going to go back down. And we'll head into the kitchen. Oh, look, there's an indicator. That must be where we got to put the box. So, put the box down, and we'll start another cutscene, which kind of further builds on the relationship Desmond has with his father. This is everything that you're going to see right now inside the game is also all the events that happen within the first chapter, I believe. Right now, there's about 58 chapters out of my comic, but it has been on hiatus because I am working on these projects instead. If you are curious of where the story goes, go ahead and take a peek. Also, don't worry about the dialogue 100% because I am not locked in on any of the dialogue, and it could change. It most likely will change even. So do not worry about it. Just further showing that there are effects done. Now the talking that the characters do, the way that the talking actually works is pretty interesting. It goes based off of whether or not the letter that is being currently displayed is an actual letter or if it's like an exclamation point or a period. And if it is an exclamation point or period or comma, things like that, the character will actually stop talking and they'll keep their mouth shut, and then whenever it's a letter, they'll continue to use their animated speaking. And then so Desmond, hurt that his father doesn't quite understand why he's mad in the first place, and feeling disconnected from his father, he's just going to go ahead and hide himself in his room. So we're going to head up here. Oh, that's a glitch. Don't worry, Desmond likes to moonwalk in his room whenever he's feeling down, and so this is actually a feature. And we're going to jump into the next feature of the game, which is having still image cutscenes, which are not currently sized, appropriately. Like, I'd probably have Desmond a little higher up on the screen, so he's not hidden by the text box. Still unsure about whether or not I'm going to, want to voice this in any way. I probably won't because that's a huge undertaking. Really more focused on it being like the music that carries the game, and like these types of moments will just be like visual candy. Though I know right now it's not at all. And these are just some sketch lines. It's just to kind of show what's going on so that way I can give you a rough idea of what to expect from a game like this. I know that so far it's not too much to look at because we're still just looking at dialogue, but we'll get into the gameplay right after this. Now normally after this would be a sort of boss fight, but that's not implemented yet, so we don't have to worry about it. Now we're going to go ahead and go down and out here, and we're going to go ahead and set up the next part of the areas that we have unlocked. So as we go over here, there's a nice little bus stop, which is actually interactable, and it will bring up the quick travel menu, which as of right now, there's only 2 unlocked locations because that's all I've worked on, and it's still in the works there too of the locations that are accessible. But now you can probably guess that there's going to be at least 6 locations in total. So let's go over to the high school now. Alright. So we've got the hallway here, and there's going to be a couple classrooms that you have access to, but the classrooms are not set up all the way, so there's no collisions on them, and obviously the depth is all off as well. But as we travel further into the school, we'll encounter our first enemy. This is just going to be like a basic bully type, and he just walks up to you and he punches you. That's all he does. That's all he knows how to do. That's all he can do. And he's also just barely passable at doing that. But you as the player can wail on him. And then just avoid getting punched, You can sidestep him like this pretty easily, but you can also use a dash. Like there's a dash mechanic. I'm still working on balancing that dash mechanic, but there is a dash mechanic. And you can also block. Blocking will, at least as of right now, blocking will only trigger like an animation on impact. Probably make that animation look a little better as well. But the idea would be that maybe there's a limit to how much you can block, and enemies can kind of hammer you down until they break your block, and then vice versa. You could do the same thing to certain enemies that can block. And then you saw that now he's down, and if I were to go in here and come back out, he would respawn, but we're not going to do that. Just going to continue down over here, and it's more or less the same. There's a sprint mechanic as well, so you can continue to run through, as you've already seen. And that's about it. There's one other mechanic, and the kicking mechanic, which as of right now, it doesn't give you longer reach, but it does pull your hitbox further back, but you have to time it right. And like that. And if you time it really well, you'll not only avoid getting hit, but you'll also hit him. And it's just a cool idea that I thought would be nice, that you could kind of do like a cool counter with this type of move. Of course, if you don't time it well, though, you just get hit, and you saw what happens when you pass out. When you die or pass out or whatever, you just respawn at the last location you came out of, wherever you spawned in at. And that's pretty much where I'm at so far, but you kind of can get a good idea of what the game is supposed to be. The PP bar at the top, the power points, that's going to be used based on if you do like heavy attacks, and then there's also supposed to be an alt form that you can enter into. We're not there yet, but that alt form will be how you can do even stronger attacks, and it will be limited based on how many attacks you kind of use. If you use too many attacks too quickly, you can pull yourself out of your alt form. If you use your attacks more sparingly, you might stay in your alt form longer. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at so far, and I'm just announcing that I am in fact working on another project. I hope that you guys have enjoyed what you've seen so far, and let me know how you feel about it, and if you got any ideas for the game, please let me know. Another thing I do want to point out is I do have an idea that would be really fun. Is kind of towards the bottom area, there's a mall. Inside that mall, I thought it'd be a really cool idea to put an arcade that would have like mini games for players to play. And if you guys want, you can give me ideas on that as well. But that's all I've got today. I hope you guys liked the video. Bye.